do you believe that people outside of the Hebrew Israelites can provide some type of good to the Israelites?
Yeah, for sure.
Okay,
And
I'm asking because the president of Mexico is Jewish.
yeah,
The president of El Salvador is
Arabian.
right.
Yeah.
And a lot of people hold it. Well, their people, their country, they hold them in high praise.
Yeah.
But they're not necessarily of their lineage.
Especially in over there in Central America, in El Salvador, what's going on right now. I know a lot of El Salvadorians are praising what he's doing to the gangs down there. And that's complicated because I know that, you know, you got MS down there, you got 18 down there, and they're reaping havoc, right? But also, I'm taking a look at how inhumane they're being treated by this Arab dude, and I gotta have a problem with it. You know what I'm saying? They say he's like, you got a tattoo, nigga. We locking you up. We putting you in. Then I seen the prison. How he got? I said, damn, he got them living cold.
Going hard
in that. No mattresses, nothing. You niggas just lay out. We got you in one big ass cell. Figure it out. That's crazy. So, you know, but I believe people outside of us can do good because when we look at it nationalistically, nations collaborate with each other for mutual good. So definitely people who aren't of our lineage can do us good for sure.
Speaking on the nations colliding, I know the president of El Salvador said he wanted to do some type of deal with Trump to where if you're an immigrant, they'll take you for a small fee that'll cover the housing and etc. Do you feel like that's a form of racism at all?
For sure. I have such a problem with what's going on with this immigration situation. I have a gigantic problem, and I have a problem with, you know, me, of course, I come from immigrants, illegal immigrants at that. As far as on my father's side, my mother's side, they're immigrants too, because my mom and them is Irish. So they immigrated too, but, you know, they did it quote unquote legally somehow. White people are all legal and we're all illegal.
Right,
you know, somehow it just worked out like that. I don't know. But so immigration is something that is near and dear to me, right? And in understanding that, what's going on with the immigration situation, and then like some Black Americans are having like very ignorant statements being made about it, stances on it, and they're not even understanding. To me, you have audacity to even try to regulate immigration when all of this is stolen anyway. You stole people, you stole land. Who the hell gave you the authority to start dictating who's legal and who's illegal, who can come and who can't come?
Hold up, though. You do have people who say, nah, this land wasn't stolen, it was bought. How do you feel about that?
I think if we take a look at the fine print of the financial transaction, that's BS, right? It was swindled. At best, it was swindled. But even like when you deal with Texas, like Texas was an outright theft. I think you had 8 white boys and 2 Mexicans that said, we're declaring Texas its own country. And then later it joined America. So, nah. And what's crazy is this. So what doubled America in size was the Louisiana Purchase, and the catalyst of the Louisiana Purchase was the Haitian Revolution. We dealt French their ass. They said we're going to cut our losses in America. So they sold America like damn near half the country in the Louisiana Purchase. The rest of the country came from stealing it from Mexico. So between the conquest of the eastern part, then the south into the southwest through the Louisiana Purchase, and then stealing it from Mexico, like that's how America was gotten. So if we look at the key economic areas, California and Texas are the top of the economic GDP for this country. That's all stolen from Mexico. So you mean to tell me you could steal a land, steal those natural resources, and then exploit illegal immigrant labor in order to enrich this, and you still got a problem? This shit's crazy to me.
So with that being said, do you believe Black people, natives, and Hispanics should get reparations?
For sure. I think that we are all entitled reparations, but I don't think that it's realistic that we'll ever receive them too. And I don't even think that it's even quantifiable what we are actually owed. Because something I like to bring up is gynecology, right? All our girls go see the OBGYN, whether they pregnant or not. They're going to go to the OB. When you understand how the practice of OBGYN was founded, it was through experimentation on hundreds of slave women. He was experimenting. This doctor was just buying Black slave girls and experimenting on their body to actually develop that practice. So if you take a look at the sacrifice of all those women in order for women everywhere to have, you know, vaginal and reproductive health, how do you pay that back? How do you repay that sacrifice? You can't. Or Native Americans invented the syringe. think about what's been administered and how useful this syringe has been in the area of medicine throughout the world. How do you pay people back for that contribution to the world? You can't really pay that back. So yeah, that's kind of my stance on reparations. But I believe all of us are emphatically entitled to reparations for sure.
And you believe that racism still goes on today?
1,000%.
Maybe not to a degree as far as like hanging people and stuff
Exactly.
of that nature,
but it goes on in different ways, especially with the way we're incarcerated. You know, we're incarcerated in such a rate as Black and Hispanic people. Like, it's like, I remember the first time I went to jail, and you remember the movie American History X,
right?
And when boom, so he's working doing the laundry with the white boy, and he looked at me, he's like, bro, in here you're the nigger, bro. Like, you have to understand that you are the extreme minority here. The rest of us, we actually hold weight in here versus you. And why is that? Because we're the main people in jail. You know, when I went to jail for the first time, I go to the county jail in San Diego, South Bay, and Chula Vista. There was 3 woods in the module. That's it. The entire rest of the module is Black and Mexican. That's it. There's nobody else in that module. So that puts things in perspective. And what's crazy is even when I had caught a case when I first moved to Atlanta. Bullshit case. Broke my baby mom phone, caught a case, right? So they sent me to a workshop, a domestic violence workshop over there, right? And we're in there, and Atlanta doesn't have nowhere near the population of Mexicans that California has, where I come from. So I'm in there, and I still see it's a bunch of Black guys. The number 2 demographic in there is Mexicans, and there's like 2 white boys. And there's a white dude that is the instructor. And he asked the Black guys in there, he goes, do you think Black people commit more domestic violence than white people? And the Black guys in there were like, yeah. And the white guy was like, no. But notice there's barely any white people in this whole room, right? So even a white boy in there was trying to point out there's clearly a disparity in prosecution legally on certain groups of people over other ones.